And hello everyone, welcome to the Apptrepreneur Show. I am your host, Kevin the Apptrepreneur. This is where you can get your almost daily dose of rideshare, apps, technology, and even a little bit of entertainment on the side. Maybe a lot of entertainment on the side. There's actually a lot of stuff going on in the world of entertainment. However, the first main topic will be a rideshare related discussion. And in fact, it's one that I kind of wanted to talk about for a little while. And you might even be surprised at where this one goes. But for those of you who missed what happened yesterday, Uber and Lyft are allowed to continue operating their vehicles in California for a little bit while longer. They have 5 days to send some emails, and then they have so many days to set a plan, and then they have so many days to enact it. And if they don't do any of these things, then they can be pulled out again. You know, I shared my thoughts yesterday, and that video is still available, but I do fully believe that basically a lot of fear-mongering got into it. Like, do you know how many people depend on rideshare? Think of the jobs you'll be killing. Think of, the groceries that won't be delivered. Well, first of all, every grocery store has a delivery service. The groceries will be fine. As for the other thing, well, look, I've been making it pretty clear. I don't think this job is worth protecting. I really don't. I mean, here's the thing. If you want to do this for fun, just for some beer money, that's one thing. But the fact that so many people depend on it and it is a bad deal, like a very, very bad deal, means that it's probably worth tearing to the ground. Personal thought, I know some of you will disagree. I think it's worth tearing to the ground. But you know what I hear? I got a lot of when that story broke. I got a lot of comments like, great, I can keep making $1,200 a week, or I can keep making $2,000 a week. And you know what? I find every time I hear a comment like this, I start asking the question, hey, if you're making this much money a week, and we know there are people on YouTube who was making this much money a week, I have a few questions for you. First of all, where's your house? Like, if you're making $1,200 or $2,000 a week, somewhere between there, where's your house? Like, why do all the people who make this kind of money live in crummy apartments? Why aren't they actually living with a little bit of style? Okay, that's question number one. Now, question number two is, if you're making so much money, where's your Tesla? Like, seriously, where's your Tesla? Or where's that car that says, look, I am making more than $6,000 a month, or more than $5,000, if it's $1,200 a week. Like, where's your nice car? Why are all the cars crummy looking? Fair question. And number three, if you're making that much money a week, where's what I like to call your kiss my ass money? This is the kind of money where you buy frivolous things and you play around with it. You show off your lifestyle on Instagram. You just show like, hey, I've got money. I've got more money than you and I can spend it. Like, where is that money? Where is it? Well, I'm going to tell you what happened to that money, because the reality is, even if you're making $1,200 a month, or not a month, a week, you're not making that much money. Because again, people have been doing this for years, and they're still doing it, even though I'm trying to explain over and over to them how this actually works. That $1,200 a week is not what you really make. You are not factoring in gas, wear and tear on the vehicle, and insurance and other expenses involved with doing Uber. So as for where's the kiss my ass money, first of all, there isn't any. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to be working 70 hours a week, you would think that would leave some money left over for you to vacation, buy some swag, get some stuff that you totally do not need, and have fun. But it doesn't exist because it's not quite enough. Especially when you tackle on regular bills and everything, it's just not there. So, number one, you're working 70 hours a week or 50 to 70 hours a week for $1,200 a week, and you don't even really get to enjoy it. So, okay, that's worth protecting, right? Then there's the Tesla. Actually, the Tesla would probably be good for Uber. You could get on Uber Black. You can make a heck of a lot more money. You're not paying gas anymore, which is one of the reasons you don't have Kiss My Ass money. So why aren't you getting the Tesla? And it's because despite the $1,200 a week, there's too many expenses in Uber as it is to even think about getting the Tesla. I mean, I guess you could get a Tesla for promotional purposes and to show how much money you're making and then return it quietly and not tell anyone. I guess you could do that too. But for the most part, nah, this really doesn't afford you the ability to get a Tesla. It just doesn't. Now, what about the house? Well, the house, in theory, you should be able to afford, even with the expenses and everything. So why is it that most full-time Uber drivers, unless they already had a house to begin with, don't get houses? Well, let me tell you why, because this is actually a unique reason why, and it's not just because of costs. You see, when you buy a house, nobody really buys a house. No one has a bunch of money just lying around to just buy a house. Some people do. Uber drivers aren't one of them. I can guarantee you that. Actually, most jobs aren't that case. That's why you go to a bank and you apply for a loan. Now, the loan terms are pretty easy. You come up with a down payment, usually somewhere between 10 to 20% of the house you want to buy. And then the bank will loan you the money for the rest of it. And then you will pay that money back in the form of a mortgage. And based on your FICO score, which a lot of Uber drivers have terrible FICO scores because they're just rattled with credit card debt because Uber does not pay them enough to live, but that's another thing. But based on your FICO score, you will be assigned a percentage you will be paying in interest. And once that all comes together, then you get your house. Now, why don't Uber driver or Lyft drivers really have this house? Well, here's why. Because the bank wants to make sure you are gainfully employed. So what do? They hire this company, Equifax, and Equifax's subdivision, the Work Number. Now, what the Work Number does is this is like an automated employment verification system. A lot of companies do this. Like, for example, Apple does this. If you work at Apple and you apply for a loan for a house, and they want to confirm that you work for Apple, a bank and loan verifier will look up their database for companies, and they'll find Apple. And under Apple, they will have a note that we are with the Work Number. Now, what this does is it conveniently lets the bank know that this employee works for Apple. And they will send them a report testifying to that. And then they will charge the bank $40 to do that. And then the bank will charge the person applying for the loan that $40, which, that's kind of crummy, but I guess that's life. Now, here's where Uber and Lyft drivers don't realize. Because I actually know Uber and Lyft drivers who have actually tried applying to get loans for houses. And they come back denied. Now, you want to know why they're denied? Because Uber and Lyft do not see drivers as employees. Uber and Lyft hires Equifax and their Work Number system. They do. You can call them and verify this. And they have two Work Numbers. If you are an actual employee for Uber and Lyft, like you actually work at the buildings, okay, employment is verified, it's confirmed, and you get your house loan. But if you're a driver, they have another number for you, and that number says Uber and Lyft drivers, or Uber drivers or Lyft drivers, depending on which company you're citing as your employment source, are not employees, and they need to do something else. And then their loan gets denied because work cannot be verified. So here's something that a lot of people aren't saying. If you do Uber and Lyft full-time and you do not have a house, and you eventually want to have a house, then you better get off Uber and Lyft fast. Because working for them as your primary source of income is actually a liability at that point. You are very, very likely not going to get a house because Uber and Lyft will not verify you as working for them. And some of you might be saying, well, what if I go with my wife or my husband? Why don't we just get it under their name? No, you're getting a house jointly. They want to verify employment jointly. And if you or your spouse's employment is based solely on Uber income or Lyft income or Postmates, any of them, if it's solely based on them in all these situations, you will not get verified for that loan. Now, is there a circumstance where an Uber and Lyft driver can get a home loan? Yes, there is. However, it involves forming an LCC, getting your business into the SOS database of the state you lived in, and having CPA information of which you can verify. Now, here's where the punchline is going to come. If you don't know what any of that is, then I've got really bad news for you. You are a really terrible independent contractor. You are doing this completely wrong. Because if you want a house, you want to pay your taxes properly, you want a loan for anything, really, you need to have those things lined up in a row. You need to actually have them, and you need to be in these systems. And I can almost guarantee you, most of you watching this who want to brag that you got to keep your job and you want to stay an independent contractor, you aren't in any of those systems. And you're here bragging to me about your little $1,200 a week job that does not provide you kiss my ass money, that does not get you your Tesla, and actually is a hindrance to you getting a job. Not a job, a house. So, look, if you want this to be your argument for why you're happy Uber and Lyft is sticking around, you know what? You do you, but I've always encouraged you to look beyond Uber and Lyft and look at the bigger picture. And, you know, in many ways, I was kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to the Uber-Tuber community. I left rideshare willingly when I was doing the math and realized it was not panning out the way it should have happened. And I realized that the real money was in YouTube and sponsorships and other ventures that did not bring in as much money but required far less of my time and did not eat up so much of my expenses. Like, I was kind of ahead of the curve on that one, and I didn't wait till I was suddenly deactivated and could not make money all of a sudden and found myself stuck. When I saw that the tides were turning and turning in a very, very, very bad way, I got out of it. And that's what I encourage you to do. Again, if you're just doing this for fun, whatever. I don't care. You do you. But if this is your main source of income, and if you want to get somewhere in life, you want that kiss my ass money, you want that Tesla, you're not going to get it from Uber. And if you want that house where you can raise a family and set roots and retire to that glorious day when you hit 85 years old and you're on the porch watching the sunset holding your wife's hand, guess what? citing any gig economy work as your job will be a hindrance, and you will not get it unless you have your ducks lined in a row and you've got you're registered as an LLC licensed business, you're in the SOS database of the state of your living, and if you have your CPA information. Unless you have that, you're not getting your house. So anyway, I wanted to kind of share that story because not only do I find it funny that people talk to me in the comments, and I like some of these people, by the way. I'm not saying I don't, but some people say like, oh, well, I make $1,200 a week, as if that actually means anything. You know, you can make $1,200 a week at a minimum wage job, and here's the kicker. You would be making a heck of a lot more, because if you were working overtime at that job, you'd be getting paid time and a half and double time. So, look, I'm just saying, I mean, I know people like to act like I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, but I do. If you're thinking about the future, do not drive Uber. Oh, that's a good one. If you're thinking about the future, don't drive Uber. I'm going to have to put that on a shirt or something. So anyway, I would like to know what you think about this. Were any of you aware that this is how loans were processed for, gig work, and that because of this little hiccup, if you will, the fact that you're not employees actually could prevent you from settling down and having roots anywhere? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, blame responsibly. Have a good one. All right, let's see what some of the comments are. So, Mike says, Kevin is right. My market doesn't have black. I spent $14K to put down repair. Truth be told says, I make $1,500 in 4 days just off of food delivery in less than 40 hours. Yeah. No, you don't, truth be told. Truth be told is a pathological liar. And, in fact, I repeat, put up or shut up, what's your channel? He'll know what that means. Anyway, Alan says, truth be told, good for you, but you really don't have $1,500, maybe half of that after expenses and things and tax deduction. Yep, there you go. Mike says, Kevin, I want to be employed. You can use your bank statements to prove deposits in the account I do when purchasing house monthly statement. Well, that's another way to do it, but it's not as verifiable, and again, most banks prefer to be like stable employment, and that's another thing about gig work. If you can just do it whenever you want, there's no guarantee that you're going to be doing it all the time. So anyway, the one says, I have to tell my friend to return his other brand new car and the house he got a year ago. I will tell him he does not supposed to buy that doing Uber. I mean, if your friend could do that, I mean, whenever, it's always funny because some people say, oh yeah, I bought my house on Uber. Oh yeah, I bought my car doing Uber. I can, by the way, believe buying a car with Uber. It's just amazing that I don't see people doing it. So, but yeah, like I said, there's only one person I've seen claim that he bought a Tesla and a house doing Uber. And he wears glasses and has really bad spiked black hair. And credibly, I don't think he's very credible. And as for the other person on YouTube who, has bought his house, he doesn't make that money doing Uber. He used Uber to expand other things. So I have never seen anyone actually buy a house or a Tesla with Uber money and then actually gone. You'd think they would go online to brag about that and actually show how they did it, but it never happened. So, let's see here. Mike says, I'm in college, so this has to work for now. Well, you're in college and you bought a house doing Uber. So, Mike, how does that work? Are you doing the 70 hours a week, or are you doing it part-time and you're buying a house? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to call anyone a liar, but something about that is not adding up. So, the 120 says, oh, 120 retracted his message. Okay. And Gustavo says, it's also true you can't claim gig work as a job in some counties in California, which, just let you know that's where I work. Okay, so anyway, I was actually expecting a lot more. Thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, I expected a lot more comments on this than that, but oh well. That's what the replays are for, right? So anyway, let's move on to main. Well, let me grab a sip of water first. Busa says, I got a car and pay off in 2 years instead of 5 years doing Uber, and I work from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day. Let's see. Well, that's certainly doable. There's a reason I said Tesla and not a general car, because yeah, Uber and Lyft, you can get a car doing that. Let's see here. So 6 hours a day. Yep, 6 hours a day. You could probably pay the car off a little faster. I mean, heck, shoot, when I get my Prius, I might even do a little bit of Uber and Lyft just to help pay off the car, but like I said, that'd be extra money. It's not my livelihood money. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's talk about main topic number 2. And the second main topic today is that, well, AMC has officially reopened their doors. Not here. I have to go to Las Vegas if I want to get a movie, and for Tenet, I'm seriously considering it. But today is the day when AMC theaters and Regal all had, and I think Cinemark too, maybe Cinemark's a week later, I don't know. They had soft reopenings. AMC theaters did this big promotion, like we're doing 100 years of movie celebrations. Like, we're celebrating 100 years of movies with ticket prices the way they were 100 years ago. So if you went to a theater today at an AMC, and some of you might still have time to do this if an AMC theater's in your area, the tickets are 15 cents each. That's it. Just 15 cents. And yeah, the popcorn's still $5, but hey, if you're getting the ticket for 15 cents, that's fine. And of course, you're watching classic movies like Empire Strikes Back, Back to the Future, Grease, things like that. So that's all cool. And personally, for me, I'm glad to see the theaters are finally starting to reopen because I miss the movies. Like I said, I'm considering a Vegas trip to go see Tenet as well as a couple other movies because they're not open here. I will be very glad when I can go back to the movies. And it seems like a lot of people are happy to go back to the movies. AMC is, by the way, stressing safety. They actually have a sign that says safe and clean, and the sign reads, not feeling well? We're excited to see you return to the movies, but if you have symptoms such as a fever or cough or have come in contact with someone who has symptoms, please do not see a movie today. So they're actually really enforcing, if you're not feeling well, please don't come in. And so that seems to be working. They've also got the spaced out seats. Some theaters are actually requiring people to wait till the end of the movie, and then they're having the theater exit one row at a time. I'm perfectly fine with all of that. There are no new movies. There will be the New Mutants that opens next week, and then Tenet the week after. And here's what some of the people had to say about returning to the movies. I told my friend, you sure you want to do this? On the sunny sidewalk outside the AMC River East 21 a few minutes before noon Thursday. And she was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, so long as we're safe, social distancing, being careful, I think we're good. They're about to see Grease, and Ramos' attitude in tune with the 1978 musical landed somewhere between Had Me a Blast and There Are Worse Things I Could Do. Eddie DeLago hadn't seen a movie in theaters since Joker last year. And he said, I just love doing this. I really don't want to see the movie theaters die out. Another midday customer identifying himself as Damien O came down Illinois Street. He and his girlfriend, who declined to give her name, were heading into Greece. It's been a minute and I was missing going to the movies. He noted that AMC's 30% seating capacity responding to current and varying state and local COVID-19 reopening regulations helped ease his doubt. And it should be noted, AMC is capping their attendance at 30%. Regal is capping their attendance at 50%. So Regal's letting a few more people in. Now then, hopping off his bicycle and masking up for the movies, another Noontime River East goer, Will Simmons, concurred. 30% capacity, I mean, you get an outside patio at a restaurant and that's potentially a lot more crowded. Because yeah, being outside certainly lowers the risk of catching COVID-19. It doesn't exactly eliminate it altogether. So, At the AMC Naperville 16, Bloodshot played some auditoriums, while the Christian drama I Still Believe, which, fun fact, that is the last movie me and my wife saw in theaters. Well, that wasn't a drive-in. If you're counting the drive-ins, we saw Trolls World Tour and My Spy and I think The Invisible Man. But in terms of like the actual theaters, we went to the IMAX to see I Still Believe, and I have no idea where that movie was in IMAX. None whatsoever. So, one guy says, I couldn't wait to come back to the movies. And he said, going to the movies is a big thing for us. And then they're coming back Saturday to see Inception. Now, after the first day, the movie tickets will be $5 a ticket, which is still heavily discounted. And if you have the AMC Stubs A-list, you can see as many of these as you want. Now, there was some concern like, hey, if the movie theaters reopened, would people come back to the theaters? And the answer is apparently yes, because as AMC's reopened, theaters sold out almost everywhere. Now, some of this has to do with, of course, the 15-cent promo that's going on today. However, I will say, because like I said, I'm considering going to Vegas, for a day or two to watch a few movies and then come back, and then we'll see where we are in late October when Wonder Woman opens. But I started looking for like movie tickets for the future, and I have to say a lot of the movie theaters in Vegas appear to be sold out in the near future. Like, I might actually have to wait a few weeks before that's even a viable thing, because the theaters are just selling out. And this is why I kind of told people to just calm down with the rhetoric. Yeah, going to the theaters is not exactly convenient. The popcorn is expensive. It's so much more convenient, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper to stream at home. People want to get out of the house. Yeah, you have some people who say, I will never go to the theater again. I don't mind if it dies. I just want to stream. But the vast majority of people do like going to theaters. For many people, it's one of their first dates. Sometimes when the family comes over, you want to do something with the family, but it's like, Broadway tickets are expensive, and so are sports. And you know what is affordable? The movies are affordable. Even IMAX tickets, which run for $20 a person. Family of four, $80. You split that a few ways. Hey, that's a pretty good night out with the folks. So I'm glad to see that it's been successful, and hopefully the cleaning measures are enough. The next few weeks are going to be very crucial to see if these theaters could actually reopen and reopen safely. If we start hearing reports that people are getting sick going to the movies, I can almost guarantee you they will be reclosing again. But I do want to know what you think about this. Does any of you take advantage of AMC's 15-cent ticket promotion today? Are you going to try to take advantage of it? And do you want to return to the movies? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. All right, let's see here. So we have Ryan here. Welcome. And we have George. Welcome, George. And Ryan says, would you make a vlog video if you traveled to Las Vegas to see Tenet? Probably. Noah, by the way, welcome back, Noah. It's been a while since I've seen you here. Says, LOL, signs aren't going to keep us safe. Well, no, they won't. In fact, actually, they won't. I mean, they're trying to tell people not to come when they're sick. But then on the other hand, people will do what they want to do. I mean, there was a controversy. It was like a Disney vlogger. When Disney World reopened, she was doing a live stream at Disney World, talking about how great it was to be back at Animal Kingdom. And then like an hour into the live stream, she starts coughing and says, oh yeah, I have a sore throat, and I've had a sore throat and a cough all morning. And people were like, what are you doing? If you're feeling sick, stay home. Stay home. So, yeah, it's the people, and the people are probably going to ruin this for everyone, but there you go. Cliff says, I'm done with Lyft. Well, that's fine. I encourage people to get out of it. And Noah says, I'm sure someone will make a bootleg and have it for the pirated internet view. Well, no. First of all, I don't steal that stuff. I consider it stealing. You don't have to. I consider it stealing. I mean, well, even if you don't consider it stealing, it is stealing. But even if I did, when I was young, my Uncle Terrence used to have, a friend who would have all the current movies in theaters on VHS, and he would show the movies. And the movies were always of bad quality and sound. And sometimes it's like, okay, I've watched it, but it doesn't feel like I've seen it. And I always prefer to go to the theaters. Like, I remember seeing Beauty and the Beast on VHS while it was in theaters, not liking it very much. My parents took me to the theaters, and I remember liking it a heck of a lot more. So, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to watch Tenet on a computer. That's not going to be my first time viewing Tenet. It just isn't. So, and I have a pretty nice TV, and I would still prefer the theater experience over this. This is close, but it's not quite there. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Now, Ryan says, I've only been to the theaters twice this year. I've only seen 1917 and Onward in the theater and 2020 thus far. And 1917 is another movie where it's like, yeah, if you didn't see that in theaters, I feel sorry for you, because that was like pretty much as close to an out-of-body experience as you can get. Noah says, I've got asthma and allergies, so when I'm asked if I have symptoms, I feel like I'm lying. Every time I say I don't have any symptoms, only way for me to know is if signs persist consistently. That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Yeah, if you have asthma, I mean, the symptoms are what you already deal with, so what can you do at that point? So anyway, thank you all for the comments, folks. Let's move on to main topic number 3. And since we were talking about streaming, one of the things that people were thinking is like, okay, so while this whole shutdown is going on and while we can't go to the movies, companies will just make stuff and release them to streaming. Like Netflix will be our savior. Everything's coming to Netflix. Well, here's the thing. Not all the stuff that you thought was coming to streaming is actually going to be on streaming, because COVID-19 has actually affected so many aspects of production that some shows are outright being canceled as a result, including these 2 shows, The Society and I Am Not Okay With This, canceled by Netflix, which I think it's interesting that I Am Not Okay With This is the title of a show that's being canceled because of COVID-19, because I can bet you the creator was on the phone thinking like, I am not okay with this. But anyway, according to, I think this is Deadline, Netflix has reversed its Season 2 renewal decision for The Society. The young adult drama, whose production was impacted by COVID-19, has been canceled and won't film a second season. Additionally, Netflix has opted not to proceed with a second season of another coming-of-age series, I Am Not Okay With This. While there had been no official renewal, I hear comedy drama I'm Not Okay With This had been quickly picked up for a second season. Scripts were written, and it was fully on track with production. The Society was renewed last summer for a second season, which had been slated to premiere in late 2020. I hear the delayed season had been eyeing potential start of filming next month. According to sources, uncertainty around production dates and balancing the availabilities of large casts like The Society, coupled with unexpected budget increases due to COVID, had led to the decision on The Society and I Am Not Okay With This, which had both been well received by critics and fans and had strong support by Netflix. And Netflix has stated, we've made a difficult decision not to move forward with second seasons of The Society, and I am not okay with this. We're disappointed to have to make these decisions due to circumstances created by COVID, and we are grateful to the creators, including Jonathan Entwistle, Christy Hall, Sean Levy, Dan Levine, Dan Cohen, and Josh Berry at 21 Laps Entertainment for I Am Not Okay With This. Chris Kaiser, Mark Webb, and Pavlina, I don't know how to pronounce that word, I'm sorry, for The Society, and all the writers, cast, and crews who work tirelessly to make these shows for our members around the world. Now, for those of you who don't understand why this is happening, you have to keep in mind, yes, things are starting to reopen again, and yes, they're starting to figure out how to make movies again, but movies and shows are going to be more expensive because you have to now do more things. You have to start spacing people out a lot more. You have to have fewer crew members. In some cases, you might have to film, if you want like a bunch of characters in one room, you might have to have so many people filming their scenes one day, and then the next day have the other side and kind of edit back and forth between the two. And it just might not be, feasible to do that. Also, in some of these cases, because they're coming-of-age stories, the filming may have been delayed enough where the characters are significantly older than what they are supposed to be, and that could be a problem. Like, I'm going to tell you one show that I actually suspect will be canceled because of COVID-19. And it entirely has to do with the fact that the cast, or at least the main character, is fairly young. His Dark Materials on HBO. Now, because of the age issue, that Lyra, the main protagonist, had to be young for most of the show, they started filming season 2 before they even knew if season 1 would be a success or not. Because they needed her to look the same, or as close to the same, for 3 seasons as much as possible. So they started filming season 2 before season 1 had even aired. But season 2's filming has been interrupted. And it's been several months since they've gone back. Now, if the main actress goes through a growth spurt, that presents 2 problems. One, she's not only of proper age anymore, but all the scenes that she filmed are effectively worthless now because she's older. And in that circumstance, I think you just cut your losses and cancel the show. Whatever is finished, you just eat it and you move on. Similar thing might happen to Stranger Things. You never know. And Diary of a Future President, well, that second season might not be going forward, because if the kids age out of their roles while they figure all this out, then we're in a lot of trouble. So I expect there will be a lot of unfortunate shutdowns because of COVID. I think Hollywood will be tightening the belt a little bit. It's going to be very interesting to see what Hollywood looks like when we finally come out the other end of this thing. But I would like to know, what do you think of this? Do you think this was inevitable, or do you think this was able to be salvaged? I'd like to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. All right, so let's see here. And George says, do you really believe Tesla has the self-driving technology, or is it just bluffing? I think they're bluffing. Personally, I think they are bluffing just a wee bit. I mean, I'm sure they have self-driving technology, but not like Uber. It's not to the extent where it's going to be on the road anytime soon. RBX is waving hi. Hi, RBX. How are you doing? And, all right, so I guess I'll do one more topic for the day. Ryan, you'll probably enjoy this one. And our final main topic involves, let's just end it on Disney Plus. Because Disney Plus has, shall we say, a Disney problem. Like, if they want to, Disney Plus wants to be a big competitor in the streaming wars. And so far they are. The Mandalorian did amazing things for Disney Plus. But there are problems with the Disney name. People expect it to be family friendly. And what's more, many shows that were announced for Disney Plus ended up moving to Hulu because of adult content. La Victor, High Fidelity, a Lizzie McGuire reboot, which was supposed to be geared for an older audience because the audience for Lizzie McGuire grew up, got shut down after 2 episodes because it was too mature for Disney Plus, and now the star wants to go to Hulu. What's more, there are a lot of Fox films that are and Touchstone films that are popping up on Disney Plus in censored form, because the idea is if it's Disney, well, the kids should be allowed to play around with it without the parents being there. And that creates a lot of problems. So one of the rumors now is that Disney is considering introducing an adults-only section for R-rated Fox and Touchstone films. And it would be hidden behind an adults-only barrier. Now, this is from comicbookmovie.com, but it's been reported by other reputable news sources as well. And they say Disney Plus is great, but there's a notable lack of films not rated PG-13, PG, or G, and even some PG-13 films aren't there. That stopped a lot of big titles from arriving on the streaming service, including Fox releases like Deadpool, Alien, and Bohemian Rhapsody. However, new rumor indicates that there could be plans to add an adults-only section to give subscribers access to a wider array of content. Now, Bill Hunt said that, this was the other reputable source, Bill Hunt, who we've talked about in this channel before, thedigitalbits.com, wonderful site, definitely check that one out. And he says, hearing interesting reports from sources in the last couple of days that Disney is creating essentially a more adult section of Disney Plus that will require a PIN code access. And that's where all of the Fox and MGM content will go moving forward, including lots of 4K. He further explains, it makes sense for some of these Fox and MGM titles to go on Disney Plus because it already has a far larger international reach than Hulu, which is only available in Japan and the US at the moment. So that would be interesting, but I do have to wonder, would Disney do it? Because again, the problem is the Disney name. I mean, yeah, having a PIN code, that's definitely a good start. But what if the parents forget to set the PIN code up and you could just enter that section? Like, what does it even say, like, when kids are on the streaming service and they see there's like a naughty section? You know, like, there's a reason Blockbuster did not have a section dedicated to a genre that starts with the letter P. Brought to you by Sesame Street. I'm kidding. It's because they didn't even want to tempt the kids, like, with kids to know, like, there's something behind that curtain you're not supposed to see. And that would be Disney's big problem. Like, it would be too tempting. And you know there'd be a lot of kids who are going like, Mom, Dad, why can't we go into that section? It's Disney Plus. It's for families. You know what I think is more likely to happen? I think when Disney irons it all out, and they really think about what this could do to the brand, and how much they love their money, that Star streaming service that's, going to Europe and having all the Fox titles there, they'll probably create a streaming service for that here and make it part of their bundle. It would make sense. They get to have one more source of streaming income. It'd be for adults. They can finally make use of the Fox library and the MGM titles, and they don't have to tarnish the Disney Plus brand. And in fact, as they do this, Disney Plus would probably always be able to stay $7 because, clearly there's not a lot of new stuff coming on it, but it's something that will never get canceled because kids just love to watch it. So I think this is an interesting rumor. I would be a little surprised if they actually put an adults-only section. But hey, again, Bill Hunt is a very credible source, and they might just do it, and who knows how that would work out. I'd be very interested. I'm kind of curious, though. What about all of you out there? Do you think that would be a good way to do this, or do you think that maybe that's not the best way to do this? I would love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. All right, let's see. Any other comments? I don't see any other comments. And that is our last topic of the day. So, with that said, thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you for chatting with me, for liking the video, for sharing your comments and your questions. I really appreciate this time we have together. I will be back Monday with a new episode of the Apptrepreneur Show, and don't forget to check out replays, not only on this channel over the weekend, but also on The Failed Journalist and the Apptrepreneur Media. Until then, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and flame responsibly. Have a good one.